Anaely, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Alejandro, for having me. It's my pleasure.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's Friday. Couldn't be better.
Yeah, happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you too.
So let's start by getting to know you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. I am originally from Cuba. I was born and raised in Cuba, and I was 15 when I moved to Miami. I've been living in Miami ever since. It's been, my home base. I've traveled to other places, but Miami's always been my returning location. I went to university here, actually in downtown at the Art Institute. So I have a background in graphic design, and I guess that's what brings me here now. My graphic design and I guess my artistic background.
What brought you back to Miami was like family, lifestyle, just.
Well, I always lived in Miami. I've never left. My family, the reason I moved to Miami was because my family was here. All of my family, when I was living in Cuba, at some point or another left to the US. So technically it was, my mom and me that were behind, you could put it that way. So we were the last ones from our close family to come to Miami.
Okay, cool. So you are an entrepreneur.
Yes. Let's say, yeah, I am, of course.
Yeah. Did you know that Miami is the #1 entrepreneur city in the United States? We have the most startups.
That's crazy. I had no idea.
And it covers all ranges of startups. Startups like yours, like e-stores and all that kind of stuff, all the way to tech startups. So yeah, fun fact.
Wow. Very interesting.
So Guanhabana.
Correct.
Guanhabana is your online store.
Yes.
So what tell us about it.
Guanhabana. So Guanhabana, and I wanna point out it's with an H in the middle, and there is a reason for it. So Guanhabana, if you are Hispanic, you may know it's a fruit. But the reason I put an H in the middle of it is because I am originally from a place in Cuba called Guanabacoa, which is in Havana. So I like the word because it kind of combines those two places, which is my origin, where I'm from. So it's Guanabacoa, Havana, and then Guanhabana with the H in the middle, kind of like brings them both together. And also Guanhabana is a very Caribbean fruit. So it also identifies with my background and where I'm from. And then Guanhabana itself, like you said, is an e-commerce store. I actually just launched it 2 months ago, but it's been in the works for a long time. I was actually, before our call, I was looking through my files and I realized that I designed the Guanhabana logo 2 years ago. So it's been 2 years in the works.
So, I mean, I'm looking at your website now and it looks great. It's very clean, very, very nice, presented very nicely. You use a combination of Spanish and English. So what kind of items can we find here in your store? What's your niche?
Right. So Guanhabana specifically came about because I wanted to I'm very proud of my Cuban heritage, but I also wanted to bring it forth through language. And I think Hispanics in general, but of course I'm speaking from my experience, Cubans, they use a lot of phrases and a lot of slang and a lot of, words and phrases that mean a lot to them specifically. And maybe other people may not necessarily know what it means, or maybe they do because they use it as well. But I think it's a very Hispanic thing to use phrases and words that mean other things. So I kind of wanted to bring that playfulness to my designs. And that's basically what I offer in Guanhabana. I offer different types of products, apparel, mugs, cell phone covers. I have a candle in there. And through them, I use phrases that specifically on that product could be funny or could be thoughtful. So for example, in the case of the candle that I have, what it says is, por si las moscas, that if you speak Spanish, you've probably used that phrase at some point. If you don't speak Spanish, it basically means just in case, just in case, light a candle. And for Hispanics, lighting a candle many times, it's just, when you want something to really happen, you light a candle, right? when you want to keep away bad spirits and bring in like good energy, you light a candle. So I think it's like a play on words with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think when I started working for the city of Miami, I got to learn a lot of the Cuban phrases. You know, me personally, I had a lot of Latin friends, but they were like Argentinian, Peruvians, not so many Cuban friends. And at least, and if I had them, it was not frequent, right? So, but in the city, boy, I met a lot of Cubans and I learned a lot of phrases very quickly. And the lighting the candle, prender la velita for everything.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny because there is this Cuban singer, Willie Chirino, which I'm sure, many people know, that he has one of his songs. It's all about prende una velita. It's not por si las moscas. I'm definitely not going into that, territory, but it's all about pero por si acaso prende una velita. That's what he says. So
Yeah.
it's
Just in case.
ingrained, I think, exactly, ingrained in our culture, I think.
So you play with these phrases and you incorporate it into your apparel, into your candles, like you said, and other items. Correct?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. And for example, some of them are popular phrases that are passed down from generations to generation through generations. Others are more specific, maybe to a particular generation. So when I lived in Cuba, when you answer the phone here, you say hello, or this is so and so. But in Cuba, you would say oigo or aló. In my case, I would always be like oigo. So I thought that was actually really funny because I've never heard anyone else, any other Spanish speakers say that phrase. So that's actually one of the words that I have on my cell phone cases, oigo and aló, because that brings me back to, I would say, to my childhood. I mean, that's part of my upbringing and my childhood. And when I was 15 and I moved to the US, I never again heard those things. So I think all of this is also a way for me to not only remember, but keep those memories alive.
Awesome. And when we spoke earlier, you mentioned that you make some of these products.
Yeah, the candle, that's the product that I have on my store that I make. And I actually had the idea of Por si las moscas, and I thought this would be amazing on a candle. Like, that's where I wanted to put it. Because I just don't come up with a phrase and say, okay, I'm gonna put it on a shirt, because that's like the easiest thing to think about. I want to put it on something that makes sense. So I thought Por si las moscas made the best sense to me in a candle, and I thought it was funny and clever. So I'm like, well, how do I go about doing this? Because I certainly don't have necessarily the capital right now to invest or work with like a big manufacturer or anything like that. So
of course,
I thought, let me look into making candles, and it kind of actually coincided with quarantine, which I think gave a lot of people the opportunity to try to experiment with different things. And that's what I did. I started to watch YouTube videos, look online, learn, research throughout a few months, and I ended up creating something that I was really proud of, and that's what I have on my store right now.
So where can we find you? Your online store is, it would be Guanhabana with an H.com.
Right.
How
so
are
my
you?
Website, you can find me on my website at Guanhabana with an H in the middle, .com. But also I am Guanhabana on Facebook and Instagram.
With the H.
With the H, yeah, exactly.
Awesome. And we'll include those in the show notes. So if you're interested, you can check them out. So what was one of the challenges you faced when starting your business that you overcame?
Well, I think, I'm a fairly new startup. So I think the beginning stages of any new business is challenging in many ways. To me, the biggest challenge is time. Time is of the essence, and starting a new business requires a lot of it. And I also have a full-time job. Unfortunately, this is not the only thing I do. I have a full-time job. So because it is my passion project, then I want to be working on this 24/7, but I can't. So most nights you see me working really late, coming up with new designs. I have an endless list of ideas that I wish I could just sit and design, but I can't do it all at once, because I also have to, spend time preparing social media, plans and posts and, you know, trying to promote my business and like get the word out. Because I think that's the biggest challenge is time, like I said, but also in order to get your business known. Because if people don't know you, then, you know, I'm doing this for myself first and foremost, but I do want people out there to know about my business and definitely, you know, build trust with the community and eventually, you know, make businesses and sales and have people buy what I sell and like it. So I would say time is a biggest challenge, you know, as an entrepreneur that unfortunately doesn't have the ability to just like quit it all and do that 100% of their time and getting the word out. So yeah.
I can definitely identify because as my podcast has 4 months now, and I'm pumping out a show every Monday. So I have the time to record in the afternoons, just like we're doing now after work.
Right.
And then and it takes time to edit and prepare. But doing the social media for it, it's another world. I need to, like you said, create content. I need to spend time creating and then distributing the content.
Exactly.
So
yeah, sometimes I have to decide, do I work on social media posts today or do I design new designs for, you know, for my products? Because I do want to, and right now I'm working really hard because I want to launch new products for the holidays, and I already have a list of ideas that I'm working on, and some of them are finished, but still a lot of work. And once I'm done with that, then I have to take pictures of what I'm selling to like post it. There's a lot of behind the scenes, you know, and it may look, maybe it doesn't look easy, but it may look easy on the front end, but on the back end is crazy.
So how are you managing the time then?
Well, that's basically what I do. I work from home, but I do work from 9 to 5. So I have to be present for my day job during those hours. And then I do have a 4-year-old too and a husband. So, you know, I have a family to, I wouldn't say take care of because we're all a family. So we all work together, but definitely spend time with, you know, because my family is also important to me. So for example, once my daughter goes to sleep, then that's my go time to start going back to my computer, because that's the other thing. I spend the whole day on my computer. Then at night I go back to my computer. So it's tiring, right? But at that point, I guess you do it because you like it. So it's all good. So I would start working again at like 9 through 12 or 1 a.m., depending, you know, how tired I am. And at that point, I'll be doing one of two things, you know, designing new things or planning ways to grow my business through social media or any other platforms.
You see, guys, this is the story of the entrepreneur. It can be done. You got to work all day, then you have your family and other responsibilities. Yeah. You may not have a family, but you may have other things
right, exactly.
your time. And but you got to hustle. You got to hustle.
Right, but if I could say something, because I think you put something that you made a good point. If you don't have a family, you have other things to do, but because that's so valid. But I think in my case, having my daughter is what made me realize how much time I was wasting. That's what made me realize, because right now I have so much to do during the day and I still make the time to work on Guanhabana at night. Before I had her, what was I doing with all that extra time? Right? So I think it's just priorities. And also, you know what? When you're younger, you might not necessarily have a clear focus or idea of what you want to do. But I think it's important to kind of realize you have so much time in your hands, you know, so spend it wisely.
Yeah, and you found the time. You have a daughter and you have work and you still found time.
Exactly. So there's always time.
I agree. There's always time. There's always time. So what would you like people to know about your brand?
So Guanhabana, what I want people to take away from it, it's that it's basically a part of me. And I think in that sense, I feel a lot of people can also identify with it as a part of them. My main goal with Guanhabana is being honest, because at the end of the day, you put so much effort into a business that you're growing from scratch that there is always so much of you that goes through it. And in this particular case, everything that I design in Guanhabana has somehow a tie back to an experience something that I have lived through, something that I grew up with. And I think humans in general have so much connection, you know, and something that I lived through is something that many other people have lived through, but we don't necessarily know that, right? So I think that's what I like the most about social media. And something that I haven't explored in the past and I want to do now is put myself out there. I'm doing it through Guanhabana, but at the end of the day, the face behind Guanhabana is me, and Guanhabana is me.
That's great. So I feel like I want to ask now, the motivation behind this project. Like, I know we spoke about the inspiration at the beginning, but I feel like after you said this, I feel like the motivation, to me, it's a little more clear of what you want to communicate. What would you add to that, to the community, to the motivation?
Right. I think I would go back to when I was 15 and I moved to Miami. I wouldn't say it was love at first sight. Moving to Miami was really tough on me emotionally because I was only 15, which many people might think, oh, get over it, you were already 15, right? But I was, you know, when you think back to it and you see teenagers now, they're just kids, right? And teenagers, being teenagers is already tough and hard as it is. So I felt like at that point in my life, I was really happy in Cuba. I had a great group of friends. I was going into the career that I wanted, which I was gonna be an actress. I wanted to go into acting school and I had gotten in. So it was all, you know, rainbows and butterflies. And then of course, the long life dream of my family to move into the US came, and I just had to go with it, you know, and coming here and not having, I had to leave behind everything that I had known up until that point. I didn't know the language, and thankfully we're in Miami, so many people speak Spanish, but I still felt it was still really hard for me to adapt especially the first year. It was really hard for me. And I think my goal at that point was just to adapt, learn the language, and do what I was supposed to do. So I went to high school at that point, I went to university, and I kind of like checked all the boxes, right? And through that process, I feel like I suppressed a lot of what made me me. A lot of I never stopped being Cuban, but I kind of suppressed a lot of it and a lot of those feelings. And I think I'm 33 now, so you kind of mature
we're
a little
the same
bit.
age.
Oh, there you go. So you kind of mature and you're like, well, what do I want to, who am I, right? And how do I want people to know me? And I'm basically, the inspiration comes behind just being myself and putting out there all these things that I may have suppressed over these past 18 years, right? All these things that make me proud of who I am. And, you know, I'm doing it. There are so many things to a culture, right? I'm just doing it through my designs and through language and through phrases. But that's my way, and that's what I'm putting out there. But if you go to my social media, many times I accompany my pictures with stories, because I have so many stories in my mind and so many memories. And I think that's what makes it special. Everyone's story is special.
I agree. I think that everybody's story is unique in their own way, and listening to you and you sharing. Thank you, by the way, for sharing the motivation behind this, and the motivation that one has outside of making money and making a business, which we all want,
right,
is so important to push a project forward. Money alone is not enough of a driver, you know.
Definitely not. Money alone, it would only take you so far. I'm not gonna lie. Of course, I want to make money. I mean, at the end of the day,
of course,
that's what businesses are for, right?
100%.
But you gotta have some heart behind it. Otherwise, I feel like I think people can tell, right? It's just like an empty shell.
They will, especially when they get to know you a little more, and especially that you want to start putting yourself out there more, which is what I'm doing as well. They'll get to know you more, and people tell if you're genuine or if you're just trying to push out something. So I know that we are running out of time, and I thank you for joining us. One more question. Is there something that you could recommend to other entrepreneurs that are starting like yourself?
I would say to anyone that's thinking of starting a business in general, a small business, is just do it, even if it's a little bit each day, because whatever you can accomplish in a year, in a month, it's going to be on your side. If you think about it and you wait 3 months, that's 3 months you've wasted. That's one. But also research, research, research. Because once you're on the bandwagon, it's really hard to get off. So you might as well, you know, have all the knowledge that you can beforehand. If you have to register your business, if you have to search, if you have, for example, a business name idea, I would recommend you search for that in the trademark database to make sure that no one else is using it already, because it would be really sad to fall in love with the name idea, right? And then find out that someone's already gotten it. So you definitely want to have that on your side. So I would say, yeah, definitely research and definitely just do it.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. It's a great, I wish you the best in your project. Guys, check it out. It's super nice. I have it right here. And especially if you're Cuban. If you're Cuban and you live in Miami, this is something that you need, one of these velitas.
Thank you so much, Alejandro. It's been really fun talking to you today.
Same. Happy Friday.